and welcome back to Tea and a Buddy podcast with me, Dominic.
And me, Erica.
And on this episode, we're going to be doing a little comparison of the London Underground, the Tube as it's known, and New York City and Paris metro stations. Subways. whatever they're called.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've just pulled up this thing on the Londonist, and I mean, what about you? What's your thoughts on the London Underground since you've been there and you're looking at it from an outsider's perspective?
I mean, if we're talking about the London Underground specifically, then yeah, but otherwise you've been on all the same subways I've been on.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, yes, I suppose so, but you know, my thoughts on it, I think London is the cleanest.
That was my first...
Speaking of cleanliness, you know.
Yeah, that was my first impression because I had only been on, I think, the New York subway before I went to London. And the New York subway system is not the cleanest, and it feels a little bit old. I love it though because I mean you can get anywhere you want to go, and it's fairly easy to use and understand and all of that stuff. So I like the New York subway system, but definitely London felt a lot cleaner, a lot newer, a lot more up to date. It's been a few years since we've been on it.
It's been a few years, yeah.
But, and actually my mom was just there, I don't know, within a few years anyway.
Within a couple of months, actually. She was, on the London Underground anyway.
Yeah, and maybe that's what she was talking about. But we were talking to her about this, and she was just like, she didn't really remember it being that clean. Which, yeah. She said, well, I don't know, maybe some of the stations are clean, but the ones we went to were not that great or something like that, which I was surprised about. And it's like, which ones did you go to? Yeah. Because the ones that I can think of are clean. The trains are quite clean. Like one of the biggest things I remember in Paris and Rome too is the
Rome one, yeah.
The graffiti on the trains. Like every single train that you rode was just like covered in graffiti.
Yeah, they just didn't bother cleaning them off or anything like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't really happen on the Underground on London, because I think with Paris and Rome, I mean, most of it is kind of like a cut and cover system.
What does that mean?
Which in Paris, it's kind of got the, they just cut a little bit underneath the ground. They don't go that deep.
Okay.
And they just kind of like cover it over with city, you know?
Right.
It's kind of like what you call like a subway, like an underpass kind of situation, you know?
Well, first of all, I know I'm keep mentioning Rome, and apparently that wasn't one of the ones we were going to talk about, but now we are. So, one of the biggest differences between Rome and all these other places, though, for me, was that it doesn't go everywhere you want to go as a tourist.
No, it doesn't. No.
Which was really annoying, actually. But when you think about it, it's like they can't, can they? Because every time they try to put in a new line or extend a line somewhere, they run into
Roman ruins.
They literally
run into the ruins.
Run into ruins, and then they have to halt everything, and there's got to be like they got it archaeologists in and everything. So, I mean, if you can't have a really good subway system, I suppose that's a pretty valid reason to not, you know.
Yeah.
I think that was the biggest one. I would say of the four that we're talking about, Rome would be the one I was least impressed by, I guess, because just for that reason, and that's not their fault, obviously. But and then Paris just felt so grungy, dirty, wordy. Dirty, like just dirty, old, grungy.
Yeah.
I felt unsafe. I felt unsafe being on I remember the trains were really packed. And we had been on some packed trains in London, too.
Yeah.
But I remember the trains in Paris felt really packed, and it just felt like a bit ominous, and I remember thinking, oh, I've got to keep my stuff. I've really got to keep my stuff like close to me and keep my hand on it, and make sure everything's okay.
I mean, this could all change. Our opinions could all change if we went back there. I
mean, it's been many years since we were in Paris.
It's been a long time. It's been about 10 years now.
Yeah, so it may be all bright and shiny. Bright and shiny.
But I think I've heard reports from people who've been there in recent years, and they say it's still the same.
And then I'd say New York,
grungy,
and then
dirty,
and then I'd say New York, and then I'd say London is the best. I mean, I don't know about you. What are your thoughts on the four big cities that we've been to?
Well, mine, I'm biased for London, I think, due to like just the way the access. I mean, in Paris. Let's just look at Paris.
Well, hang on. One other question really quick before we get into this article.
Yeah.
What do you think about the new trains in London? Because the last time we were there, they had upgraded the trains, and
you could see all the way through.
Yeah, and you can see all the way through.
I kind of like that because it's
that?
A little bit better than than the old ones, because they can fit more people on now, and everything, and you can see all the way down the train. And I like it. I do like that.
Yeah.
I think it's a little bit of a better design. I think it's mostly the Piccadilly and Circle Line trains.
It's a bit weird.
All the tourist trains, anyway.
Yeah.
Because
if you go up to St. John's Wood, the trains and everything feels a bit older.
They're a little bit older. Yeah, they're a little bit. The cars are a little bit older and everything. Yeah.
Okay, sorry. We can go back to what you were talking about.
That I can remember too much about the Paris metro. I mean, we seem to get around it okay, I seem to remember where the Eiffel Tower was and all that kind of stuff. Because we were only there for a day, so not even a day really, but it's got a lot more stations than London. I think it's got 303 stations to London's 270. And it's a little bit more condensed. So, everybody was packed on there, and it just wasn't very...
It was very packed.
And it was just kind of rickety and, dirty, and it was stunk. It stunk as well, I think. I mean, that could be just the people.
Just BO, just
I can't remember, but it was just... It's just kind of around where it doesn't really go where you're... Another
note I want to quickly say about Paris for anybody who has never been and arrives in the Paris train station and is trying to find the underground, the metro. It was not easy.
It was not easy to find our way out of the station.
When you don't speak French and everything is literally in French, which obviously, I mean, you're in France, so... but nothing is in English, so Americans and British people who have never been there don't go there expecting to see things in English.
Don't expect bilingual signs.
Yeah, no. We spent so much time in that train station, wasting time trying to find how to get to the metro. It was crazy.
Just crazy. Because
and we were looking at a map.
And I was like, wait a minute, where's the exit? How do we get to the underground? What's going on here?
Yeah. I think I just ended up going and asking the ticket lady because we could not make sense of the map.
And she was like, little English. Yeah, no, none. But London's network, London wins for me because it goes further, there's more thing, whereas Paris is kind of and I think it's the same sort of thing in New York too, isn't it?
What's that?
It doesn't really go out too far into the suburbs.
Well, no.
I mean,
it extends into the Bronx, Harlem, and the Bronx, and I think up that way. But it doesn't really. Now let me think. It doesn't really go out to Queens or anything. I don't think I could really be messing myself up with that statement. But I've never taken it out to Queens. I mean, we've always had to take a taxi or whatever if we were going to the airport. So yeah, it's definitely not convenient for going to or coming from the airport.
Yeah,
London's very convenient for that.
Well, Heathrow definitely, because you can get on the Piccadilly line from Heathrow, and take it all the way into central London.
Yeah.
You can't really do that with at Gatwick, and you can't do that at Paris or New York.
Yeah, no.
You have to get the bus.
The bus or the taxi or whatever.
Taxi or whatever, and it's just lumbering. And yeah, I mean, again, I prefer London over both of them because I've had more experience with the London Underground, and, I just kind of like there's so much more to, like, see.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so much many, it gets you where you need to be for most of the,
Yeah. I want to talk about, like, as far as people on the subways are concerned.
Well, yeah,
because why do you, okay.
There's going to be crazy people.
Here's a question. No. British people seem to think, for some reason, that they are the only people who ride subways and don't want to talk to strangers or, like, make eye contact with strangers. Yeah. British people seem to think, oh, no, in London, you don't talk to strangers on the subway. You don't, like, make eye contact or ask how you're doing or whatever. It's like that in every city I've ever been in on the subway. Everybody's got their earpods in. Everybody's reading something. People are not talking to strangers on any public transportation I've ever been in the world. I don't know why British people think that's, like, something that's specific to them.
I don't know. I mean, I've only ever I don't really remember being on the subway in New York, and, it's a similar experience to London, really, and the same in Paris. And, well, in Paris, they were
people
kind of...
don't strike up a conversation with you.
Yeah, because it's just...
It's like being in an elevator.
Yes,
keep your eyes down.
Keep your eyes down, and you get off where you're going to go,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, people think, like, it's very specific to London and whatever.
Yeah, they think, oh, that's so British that we don't talk to
so very British.
But it's like, yeah, I think that's just being in a big city.
It's a big city, yeah. It's like,
somebody might be a psychopath. You don't want to strike up a conversation with them,
That apparently there was some kind of, like, I think it was Mayor of London or someone. They said for the Transport for London, we're going to do like a chat day on the tube, like where you got to chat to people instead of like look at your phone or whatever. And it's just like, this is not going to go down well in London, because no one's going to do it.
Yeah.
No one's ever done it.
I don't understand the people who are on their phones in this down in the subway. How are they on their phones? I never have any kind of signal or like get internet or anything. I know sometimes it's like, oh, there's Wi-Fi on the train or whatever, but it doesn't work.
Virgin apparently have done that now. There's Virgin have like about 144 stations.
Mm-hmm.
You can connect to Wi-Fi, which back the last time, the time when you flew in. And I was with my friend, and we were down in the tube, and that was before smartphones and everything like that. Yeah. So I had to kind of like run back up the stairs because I was like, I don't know when you're coming in. And we're down in the tube. I have no signal. And I remember just as I got up the stairs, you called, and I was like, oh, have you been calling?
Yeah.
But now apparently, you can get on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and all that down in the tube, with Wi-Fi, so everyone's okay. I mean, of course there's going to be dead zones and stuff because you're traveling, same as on a train, really, same as on a train that goes overland,
Yeah.
But,
okay, let's talk about the stations really quick. I know you've got some other points to talk about, but the big stations. I've already said that Paris is almost impossible to find the metro rail from inside their train station, but I don't know. I mean, I find it pretty easy in like Grand Central.
I think I mean, clear signage is what you need. I think it was clearly signed in Grand Central. I mean, obviously there's the language barrier.
Grand Central Station obviously is in New York.
Yeah. Whereas London obviously has clearly signed underground, you know. They've got the sign, and once you see that, you know you're on the right track.
Yeah.
Pun intended.
And they've got a lot more train stations in London, too.
Yes, yeah.
That the tube connects to.
Yeah. I think it's like, what's 270 stations.
It's King's Cross and St. Pancras.
King's Cross and Pancras, the same sort of thing, same station, really. Paddington. Euston, Victoria Station.
Yeah. Yeah, I seem to think they're all, it's all pretty clear. It's all pretty clearly marked how to get to the underground.
And, you know, there's 402 kilometers of length to the London Underground. This is versus New York Subway, which only has 373. But there's more passengers on New York than there is in London.
That's weird.
Yeah, I mean, I guess because it's such a densely populated city, New York.
Yeah.
And you're on literally a tiny island.
Right. I think that's it. The things are not as spread out in New York City, so there's no real need to have a car, whereas London is quite spread out.
London, there's more people, there's more space for people, you know.
So people have cars there, whereas I think in New York City, not a lot of people have a car. I mean, only the very wealthy really bother, you know.
Yeah. Number of lines. New York has 24 to London's 11.
Oh.
And a lot of people complain about the lines and stuff because, 1, 2, and 3, they're all the same color.
Oh. Okay.
4, 5, and 6 too.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like, which one do I get? And there's apparently an express train which doesn't stop at all the stations. So if you accidentally hop on one of them, you're going to go past where you need to be, you know?
Yeah.
Because it's going straight to...
Isn't it something like... God, it's been a long time since I've been on the subway in New York. Isn't it something like the number lines go one way and the letter lines go the other way?
Something, yeah. I'm not too sure.
I think so. I think it's something like that. I could be totally
wrong. I mean, with London... they've got all their lines are color-coded different colors. So, for example, Bakerloo is brown, Central Line is red, Circle Line is yellow, District is green, Hammersmith and City is pink, Jubilee is grey, Metropolitan is like a purple, Northern is black, Piccadilly dark blue, Victoria light blue, and Waterloo and City is like a even teal.
My thing about the subways, no matter what city you're in, if you're riding it for the first time, the only thing that is a little bit challenging is which direction you need to go on.
Eastbound, southbound, westbound,
Right. I mean, unless you've got a map kind of.
Yeah, I mean, navigate. What? I mean, how did you? I mean, I guess I did most of the navigating on the tube. But on your own, how well would you think you would be able to do it say in London?
I mean, I would figure it out. I think I just had you do it, so I wasn't paying a lot of attention.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think I could. Yeah, I think I could figure it out.
I mean, New York, I think it would easily figured out. Because I seem to remember it was we pre-navigated the tube for your mum last time she was in. When she was coming home from somewhere, where was it?
Not sure.
I remember she had to land in... Oh no, it was Liverpool.
Oh, okay.
That's where it was. And she had to go on the tube in London and she was like, oh, thanks, because I didn't...
Yeah, they were like, oh, we don't think we would have been able
to do it with all the luggage and everything. Because, I mean, the first time you left London, you were a little bit harried and everything. Because you had all the people
because
rushing
everybody
about
it's like rush hour
and you can't stop because people are behind you.
Yeah, people get really annoyed.
That's another thing.
If you're like kind of going slow and trying to figure out which direction you're going to, just people huffing behind you,
tutting and
it's just like God.
Especially
I remember I was trying to get my luggage up these stairs, and I was going a bit slow because I think I had a big suitcase and then some bags. And this guy just came and grabbed my suitcase and just hauled him up the stairs. And I was just like, he could have easily been just like taking it to steal it, but he was all like in a suit and everything. I could tell, he was like on his way to work, but he didn't say a word to me. He was just like, he was being nice, I guess, but more it was just like an aggravation, like, oh, you're in the way, and he just grabs it and like hauls it up the stairs and like drops it at the top. I was like, thank you. Yeah, so have somebody with you or don't have a big suitcase you have to haul up steps.
I mean, because the elevators or lifts and stuff, they're kind of non-existent in most stations.
Well, and they're not easy to find.
And they're not easy to find.
They're not just like,
so
come
good luck
this
if
way.
you've got, like, disabled people wanting to go on the tube.
And there's not escalators at every station.
Not really, no.
Sometimes it's just stairs. And there usually is an elevator somewhere. But it won't be.
But it won't be where you think it's going to be.
It's not like right there by the stairs, or it's like in an out of the way place.
I remember most of the ones I've come across, they're usually broken or out of order or whatever,
Yeah.
Kind of like on The Big Bang Theory.
Usually smell like urine.
Yes, usually, and it's just kind of like, you don't want to get in them. Oh, and New York has more stations than London. I didn't know that. 468.
Well, I mean, if there's that many more people, right?
Yeah, I guess so. And I mean, it's the age of the network. I think London is the oldest in the world.
Is it?
Yeah, 1863.
Okay.
And,
what is this about the money, though?
well, it's a single fare to anywhere in New York is $2.75.
Jeez.
For a single Zone 1 to Zone 1 fare in London is £2.30. You've got to keep your... I mean, everybody's using Oyster cards and stuff now, which are, contactless. Mm-hmm. And you've got to keep that topped up. I'd say like minimum 20 quid,
Yeah.
And I'm not sure. I mean, it depends on where you're going. But, I think... Paris still uses like the paper and all that kind of stuff.
We just saw some YouTubers though saying that now in London you can just use your debit card. Apparently,
you can use your debit because it's contactless again.
Yeah,
yeah, you can.
So you don't even have to have a card. That's so crazy. You don't even have to have an Oyster card.
You can just have contactless payment.
That's so crazy.
Which is all the rage in Europe now. Well, Britain. Anyway.
I don't understand how people think that that's more secure though, because it's like that's on technology that can be hacked, or your phone. You can lose your phone, or I don't want to have that on my phone personally, but
yeah. Well, that's it. You can use your phone to scan it through.
Yeah.
You can link up your card to contactless.
Yeah, I don't like that.
But yeah, as we were talking about the cleanliness, I mean...
So this is what the Londonist...
This is the Londonist,
I don't know how they evaluated this, or if they had people vote on whatever, but this is what they came up with anyway. As far as cleanliness, New York wins, according to the Londonist.
Yeah. Plastic seat design on New York is a clear winner. The plastics can easily be wiped down compared to London's germ magnet festering material seats.
I never thought about that. We posted a picture of a train in the London Underground from years ago, and we got a lot of response on Twitter.
Yeah.
And somebody
and
said
Instagram too,
and somebody said, "Oh yeah, the tube's a lot cleaner than the rest of them as long as you don't touch the seats."
Yeah.
I never thought about that. They're cloth, aren't they?
They're cloth, yeah.
Oh god, yeah, I never thought about that at all. That's terrible.
Yeah. The headroom as well, it's only 6'9" is the maximum headroom.
That's funny.
Yeah, so if you're really tall, you kind of have to stoop.
Maybe there's a lot more tall people
7
in
foot,
New York.
7'2" in the New York carriages.
Wow, I didn't.
So New York wins again on that thing. Smoothness of ride. I mean, both of them can be very kind of like stop-start erratic. Like shaking all the time.
Yeah.
So no one wins on that score. I mean, Wi-Fi, Virgin Media now provides the Wi-Fi. And there's a network in New York, but it's often, impossible to join, really.
Yeah, that's what I've found that to be impossible to join, and all of them. So I don't know. I don't know how recent this London Wi-Fi is.
I don't know. Yeah, it's pretty recent, I think. The passenger weirdness.
It's weird people.
Weird people, like...
Weird people ride the train, apparently.
Fights breaking out, and apparently on one of the New York subways, some woman was chopping onions. But, I mean, in London, it's the same sort of thing, naked men asleep and all
Isn't
that.
there a thing, like, in Asia, you can't bring a durian fruit
you can't bring a durian fruit onto the subway, because if anybody has had durian fruit, you'll know that that fruit should be banned everywhere. Just absolutely disgusting.
Yeah, I mean, can you imagine there being a woman bringing a durian fruit onto the subway and cutting it?
Oh, God. No.
Those trains in London that are open all the way, you could smell it all the way down the train, probably.
God, that would be disgusting. I don't think it's just... I mean, it smells and it tastes just as bad as it smells, really.
So apparently in New York, there's a lot more storage space.
There's a lot more storage space, interior space, yeah.
Interesting.
Storage space under the seats, so that works out okay.
Yeah, I mean, we've got to go to these places again. It's been a while now.
Yep.
I can't remember these.
We need
things.
to go up to New York and test them out, just ride around.
Yeah.
And London too. The air conditioning in London has it on a few specific carriages, but that's about it. Apparently every line in New York offers it.
I mean,
I'd imagine so. I mean, in London, it can get hot down there. It can get really hot.
I'd say you probably needed a lot worse in New York, though.
Yeah, because, I mean, during the summer, it's probably baking.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really surprising how hot it gets in New York City in the summer. What about navigation? We kind of talked about this.
Yeah, but in the carriages, this is in the carriages.
Oh, yeah.
The maps in London, you have a lot of them, so you can look up and see which one's coming, So next stop is Paddington,
Right.
Alight here for whatever.
In some New York carriages, they don't have maps at all.
Yeah, I seem to remember there wasn't some.
Seems crazy, but yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. I did like the design, though, the design ones of New York subway, the Art Deco kind of design.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a restaurant-style 1920s restaurant car. Kind of like that grey and all that. I mean, compared to London's kind of like red and white kind of thing, which is like,
I think we generally like a retro look a lot more than most of Europe. Most of Europe favors the modern.
Tries to be modern, yeah.
Yeah. Because everything's so old there in the first place, so...
Yeah.
Whereas everything's fairly new here, so we like to hold on to our old stuff. What about Paris?
Paris, let's have a look now, the signage. Apparently that's very good, too. It has a great map.
Compared to London, or just in general?
Compared to London, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean... lettering and numbering scheme. Crossrail like recives have a letter associated with them all. Have a number.
I definitely like stations, no matter where you are, that, it'll have the name of the station when you're pulling in, but it'll also sometimes on the wall say, like, what landmarks are basically up when you go up there.
Yeah.
There'll be a sign
they do
that
that
says,
on the London Tube. They have the London woman. I don't know if it's still a woman. She does the announcements. The next station is Waterloo.
Yeah.
Or the next station is Westminster. Alight here for Big Ben and the Houses of Parliament.
Yeah.
I think they do that on the London Tube. I don't know if they do that in the Paris Metro.
Yeah.
I don't think they do it in New York, because I don't think there's really too many. I mean, there's landmarks, obviously, but
yeah, there's too many maybe in a.
There's too many in an area. Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember.
This is what I was talking about with the cut and cover.
So this London Londonist article that is evaluating Paris and comparing it to London. They didn't do it in exactly the same way as they did with New York.
No, because there was a little bit more thought in the New York one, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, a bit more of a comparison, a straight comparison, really, than just like
they're just sort of like talking points, really, like
talking
the ticketing.
Points. The ticketing. I mean,
I don't really remember. I don't remember.
I remember it was a paper card. Apparently,
I don't even remember that, but apparently, yeah, you have to get each time you get on, you just get like a one way, I guess.
A one way, and then it comes back.
Oh
well.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to have a card that you can do multiple rides with, and you don't have to have like a bunch of paper cards. But
well, yeah, I mean, because that's what we were using on the tube in London was the paper card. I mean, we didn't buy for some reason we haven't got Oyster cards, so and I mean you can top them up at any time, they're permanent. But now, I mean, we're hearing you can just use the debit card on the tube and that's fine, so contactless, as they say.
And then they compare the decor.
The decor, yeah, I mean,
of the stations.
I mean, London's are pretty much the same as they've always been.
Yeah.
Well,
this article says that they've really revamped the stations and that they've got a lot of what is it called? The art on
the Underground project, yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm sure there's like a lot of Baker Street Station, for example, that had plenty of reference. The tiles were all Sherlock Holmes.
You know what I remember in Paris? I remember coming into the stop that's like just below the Louvre.
Oh, yeah.
And there were a bunch of shops. We got off and all of a sudden it was just like we were in a mall.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was just like loads of stores.
Yeah, I vaguely remember that too, yeah.
I was just like, are we still underground? Like, what is going on? It felt like we were inside a shopping mall, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I guess some underground stations are so old in London and in New York that they can't fit too much
Stuff
in
like
there,
that, Yeah, because I can't think of...
But I think, with Paris, it's not that deep underground.
Yeah.
So, it's only like a couple of 20 feet. So, it's kind of like, it cuts and covers and goes under a little bit and comes back out again.
Yeah.
I mean, some stations in London do that too. But most of it is deep underground,
Yeah. And so they're basically saying that it's a lot cheaper to travel Paris than it is London, which I don't really remember. Gosh, we need to go back there.
Yeah, I mean, our information is out of date.
Our information is out of date.
We need to go back there, and we need the money to go back there, so please.
Anybody who has recently ridden any of these tube lines or underground subway,
recently,
whatever you want to call them.
Like in the last 2 weeks or so.
Yeah. And you want to fill us in on what they're like and what's new and any of that. If you're a train enthusiast, all of that kind of stuff, go over to our Facebook group, the group, not the page, because the group you can chat with us and chat with other people. Yeah,
we'll respond within seconds. Sometimes.
Yeah, and it's Facebook groups / Tea and a Buddy or Tea Buddy, I think it is actually.
Is it?
Yeah.
I mean,
TEABUTTY.
We'll just do a search for Tea and a Buddy, and you'll see the group come up.
Yeah.
On the page, I think too.
But you can always look at our website too. We link to the group on there.
Which is Tea and a Buddy.
Yeah, which is teaandabuddy.com. Yeah. Yeah, so go on there and let's talk. Show us your pictures. On a Facebook group, you can upload pictures. I think they can.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'd love to see...
Upload video, too.
We'd love to see pictures and video of any new enhancements they've made to any of these train lines or stations.
I mean, Rome and Paris, I'm not so much, but London, I'm very interested in what they've done to...
I'm interested in Rome and Paris. Yes. And New York, okay?
I mean, of course, and New York, too, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm always interested in what's going on in London and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, so just go over there and let us know, share your pictures with us, and
Tell us all
join
about
in
it.
the conversation. Yeah. Let us know anything we left out, or
Yes.
if you completely disagree with us, maybe Paris is your favorite underground system. I don't know.
Maybe it is.
These are the 4 main ones that we're talking about.
Because the 4 main ones we've been
That
on.
we've been on, yeah. So we can't really. I mean, you're welcome to come on and
Austin
talk about any other
hasn't
train.
got one yet.
No,
I mean, it's got a little tiny light rail, a metro rail that goes back and forth
above ground.
Above ground, but yeah, it could sorely needs an underground system. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So we can't really speak on a lot of the other world's train stations and all of that. Yeah. Los Angeles, I think somebody mentioned, and yeah. But if you want to talk about them, you are quite welcome to.
Tell us.
Hopefully
fill us
someday
in.
we will ride on.
We will ride
all
them
of them
because we're all into that.
But yeah, I think we've
run
this
that
topic into the ground.
Under the ground.
Under the ground. Ha ha ha.
And do all the things.
Do all the things.
Follow us, tweet us, Instagram us, Facebook us, Butty everywhere.
Yeah.
You'll see our faces.
Yes.
And that's it.
We'll see you next time.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.